to episode 110 of the Trading Without Borders podcast with your host. In today's episode, we will continue discussions on the I5 priorities of AfDB 10-year strategy. So about 2 episodes ago, I started discussions on that, or 2 or 3 episodes I'm in, and we have looked at the first 2. We've looked at the Light Up and Power Africa. Under that, the ambition is to connect 600 million people to the grid. You can listen to that. And I spoke about last week. I spoke about the Feed Africa priority and how the objective is to improve our yields. And so today we are moving on to Industrialize Africa. We will look at the ambitions, the challenges, and opportunities, and what the priority of the bank is in supporting the industrialization of Africa in collaboration with African governments. So let's look at this. Okay, the ambition under Industrialize Africa is that by 2033, industrialization will be firmly on the way across all African regions. That is by moving Africa from small-holding farming and informal trade to modern industrialization. And how will that transition be supported? That will be supported by African governments through industrial policy, investment promotion, and targeted investment in infrastructure and services. So let's take a look at what the opportunities are and challenges are under the industrialization priority. So the strategy notes that Africa is beginning to industrialize. There are productive clusters in key locations. Of course, this is supported by Africa's rich natural resource base, FDI, digital technology, financial development. And African firms are becoming integrated in regional and global production networks. So let's take a look at the challenges. What are the constraints that are holding Africa's industrial development? So the first one, the report notes infrastructural challenges. We have physical and digital infrastructural challenges, where lack of reliable and affordable power in Africa. There's weak port and transport infrastructure. There's limited digital connectivity. These are amongst the other that were highlighted, and of course this is said to be affecting competitiveness and adoption of ability of African firms to adopt digital technologies. So let's move on to the next. The next one is structural business challenges, and that's limited access to affordable credit, and of course of the developed capital markets. That's limiting the growth of medium and large enterprises in Africa. And the next one, small and fragmented markets. And of course, industrialization cannot take place without markets that are developed enough to generate the revenues that we need, or that firms need to invest in production. So this is causing constraints on industrial development and human capital. Africa's education and training systems have not effectively responded to demands of private sector. The low gross enrollment rate in tertiary education, and of course even lower enrollment in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics field. That's the STEM fields. STEM fields. That science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. There's low enrollment in those fields. Gender disparities is also noted as one of the challenges. So what would be the bank priority in supporting the development of industrial development? So the bank is going to support the development of industrial value chains, particularly in export-oriented manufacturing, to promote economic diversification, productivity gains, and improved trade balances. So the bank is going to focus on 5 priority sectors. Let's take a look at that. So the first one is developing agro-processing and agro-processing in special processing zones. That's to support the Feed Africa initiative and Industrialize Africa. So the focus will be on developing the value chains in food staples such as rice and cassava, as well as horticultural products. Then the next one, supporting extractive resources beneficiation. The bank will support value chain development for critical minerals to power Africa's industrialization. So we are looking at also the electric vehicle value chain such as cobalt, lithium, and nickel, and mining as well. So the global change for these emerging industries that electric vehicles and mining, they are being formed. So the bank is going to be supporting that. Then the bank will also, that's the third one, the bank will continue to support Africa's net zero transition, during which the transition natural gas is a relevant facet for the continent's industrialization. So the bank will a net zero transition. That's the third one. Sorry, just to clarify that the bank will continue to support Africa's net zero transition. So that's the third one. And the next one, connectivity infrastructure, digital and data services, and support for digital entrepreneurs. So beyond the role of banks' role in financing, there will also be innovation. So the bank will develop innovative approaches in that closing the financing gap for digital technology. The bank will support the pharmaceuticals and vaccine manufacturing sector under this Vision 2030 Pharmaceutical Action Plan. And finally, the bank will also focus on removing the bottlenecks that is holding back the development of the textile sector, including infrastructure, logistics, and skills. It also noted that the textile sector is the second to agriculture as a source of employment in developing countries. Okay, so this is where we wrap up for today's episode, and as usual, the podcast is for educational purposes only. If you need expert advice, if you need support in expanding your operations to Africa, or you want to enter African markets, please reach out to me. My name is Omobola Adekola on LinkedIn, and until the next episode, I say to you, bye-bye.